This is Satsang number 1, where I'm going to explain a little bit more about the quantum fields, which were referred to in the past as chakras. Energy wheels and quantum fields are actually the same thing in different languages and different cultures. So we'll talk about the sounds, the frequencies. So the mantralaya is a very effective way of dealing with the mind. It's not a body thing, although you're visualizing it in the body as if your spine is in the middle and the chakra petals are going around you. But what you're doing is you're pulling the energy out of the nerves in the body and bringing it up the spine through the mind into consciousness. And when you do that, your mind doesn't have any more energy to think with, and it goes silent. That's kind of the purpose of mantralaya. But to get there, you got to learn the Wang Shang Shang Sun Bang Bang Mang Yang Rang Lang. And that has to become fluent.
Is it
flowing? And you're not trying to remember. So we spent months at the ashram doing this every night, as a group. And week by week, we went to chakras. When you get to the sixth one, it's like ong, onging. There's 16 sounds, right? So it gets a little more difficult. And then you're putting all of them together into these 50 sounds. So you're learning the alphabet,
Sanskrit alphabet?
the Sanskrit alphabet. Then what they say, the legend and the reality of it is these letters of the Sanskrit were not made up. They were heard by people in a state of meditation who could hear the sounds of the whole electromagnetic ocean. And they realized where the sounds belong in the manifestation of what we call reality. Everything has its frequency, its tone, its sound, and this is how it came into being the language. The alphabet was heard and then put together, and it's still considered a magical language.
So I've heard that everything's contained within Om.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two? Because Om is one
It's
word.
easy.
It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
What would be the difference in the application of these two?
Well, the Om is the container of all of it. And if you look in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he's stating that the Om is the sound you use to remove any of the obstacles in your life. You know about Ganesh, removal of obstacles. Well, just the sound of Om repeatedly, the obstacles disappear from your life. And there's a visualization. He states in there that you have to focus on the meaning, but it's not intellectual meaning. Because Om is the vibration of every electromagnetic wave in the universe put together into one symphony. That's the Om. And when you're sitting in a cave up in the Himalayas and there's no other sound around, and you turn off your thinking, you hear this. And it's Om, Om, Om. It's wavering like that. You're hearing the sound of reality. We are swimming in this electromagnetic ocean that we can't see, because we don't have senses to perceive it. But what we do in Laya Yoga is you're learning to feel this energy. In Mantra Yoga, you're using the sounds, the frequencies and the sounds of the energy. In Laya Yoga, you learn to feel it as different vibrations, different feelings.
So is the mantra Laya then a combination of Laya Yoga and Mantra Yoga?
Well, you can't completely disconnect them because they're all part of yoga.
Of course, of course.
You're
But
dealing with the feeling of it,
pulling
which Yeah, if you're chanting it and you're feeling the vibration of the chant, you're also feeling. And if you're bringing in the visual of you're looking at the sacred geometry of it, then you have the sense of seeing, feeling, hearing all together
Mm-hmm.
on one thing. And this is what Patanjali calls samyama, which is the unification of the senses on one experience.
Where would the first chakra then go with smell? Which
You
is
don't
that
need smell at the higher level.
okay? So no incense required and
Yeah.
so on. So it's enough to keep
Well,
your
I think that helps you inspires you to breathe a little bit.
I mean, here the air is great anyway. So
Yeah. I don't
but yes,
burn much incense here because you don't need to. It's
no need to.
just the smell of the environment and the oxygen and the prana and all of this is the reality of real nature.
So is mantra laya then to like build sensitivity and awareness so that you could go deeper into all?
Yeah, or you're going into all the specific sounds. It's all an expansion of a sensitivity. You're developing a sensitivity to notice the feeling of everything, including vibration, sounds, location of the petals. As you become more sensitive, you notice the feeling of all of these different aspects, which we're totally unconscious of generally, but you're developing your sensitivity.
It's a very different levels, and because just playing with your toes, you might not be able to differentiate which toe are you touching at the moment.
Yeah,
Down to being able to really feel
yeah.
energy flow in your body. Yeah.
I mean, the purpose of the hatha yoga, with all the postures, and then bringing the breath in to unite that with the postures and movements, you're feeling things that most people never feel. Most people have no feeling. When I got into yoga, I was very intellectual, mathematical, etc. I never thought about feeling my body. I started discovering and feeling, oh, like a baby. A baby, if you have children, you see babies come up and they're discovering their hand and feeling it move. And then we completely lose all that when we go to school and learn to think and think and think. So I had to get back into it.
Becomes automatic, and you're not really aware of doing it. You're just aware of I'm going to do this.
I'm going
but
to,
then whatever the body does, the body does.
yeah, yeah. So ideally, you're becoming more conscious of every step along the way, not thinking about I'm going over there, and you don't notice how you even get there.
Exactly.
So that's the moment, here and now. You're feeling every aspect of it, and that feeling goes deeper and deeper. As you go deeper into the body, you start to feel the blood flowing through your veins. You can feel the breath. This is the first key. You feel yourself breathing. Most people don't breathe, so they don't feel themselves breathing. They're busy thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow. But you start feeling by breathing, and then that extended, oh, I can also feel my heartbeat. And then I can feel the pulse of the blood going through my veins. This is greater levels of sensitivity. And how far can you go with that? Let's say you go all the way into your cells. Well, your cells are vibrating at a frequency above 60,000 hertz, and the molecules within the cells are 10 times that. And all
So
of the
600 kilohertz.
yeah.
Okay.
So we don't normally
radio stations, AM radio stations or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So these are things you don't normally think about or feel, but in yoga, you're developing the sensitivity, going into yoga nidra, and feeling. Okay, I can feel my heartbeat. I can feel my cells kind of pulsating. I can feel the blood flowing through, and you can go down to this vibration of the cells. It feels like vibration,
But
buzzing.
that wouldn't be via the nerves, since a cell wouldn't trigger any nerve currents for the mind to process.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, but you do go through the nervous system to start feeling yourself breathe, to feel the heartbeat, to feel different things. When you're getting down to the cell, it doesn't have a nerve to every cell in your body that's telling you it's vibrating at this frequency. So your expansion of awareness is going beyond the nervous inputs, the nerve terminal sensations from everywhere. But that is part of the process. You go in and you can feel, how does your liver feel? Most people can't feel their liver until there's a cancer growing in it, and you run to the doctor. I feel something going on. I have no idea what it is. Well, in yoga, you explore every day. You go in and you feel, okay, everything feels good, and you're tuning yourself up. You're doing breathing. You're bringing oxygen to all these places. So it's a daily tune-up.
And it's important to disconnect from the judgmental, because I've personally seen people who start feeling stuff because of increased sensitivity and then fall into fear,
freaking out,
and manifesting things just by oh, it's this and this, and then that really comes up. Until you can let go and just see it as a sensation, and then it passes through, passing clouds, done. So you feel it.
But if you hang on to it, the mind comes up with a fear. You heard about your neighbor having some kind of pancreatic cancer, and you feel something in this area, and you start thinking, oh, maybe I have. And if you hold on to that thought, that is exactly what you manifest. And this is what we're totally ignorant of this in our Western education.
Yeah, but on one hand, people who are not starting the process and don't even start to feel are safer, because they don't have, I have some problem with my heart, I can feel it. So, yeah, you have a heart and you start feeling it, but it doesn't mean you have a problem. There's people who never went so far, they might just be fine.
Yeah.
So what's an approach to work on the mind with when you're increasing the sensitivity? How can the mind...
Well, this is where we do the breathing in Ekadasi. Ekadasi is a breathing technique that brings up everything that is in the back of your mind. Every piece of information you had about disease and problems is sitting there. Whether you like it or not, you've heard about people having problems, you've seen television shows about hospital emergencies and bullshit like that. So all of these things are in your mind as possibilities.
Or as reality, past reality.
Yeah.
I think my experience in the Philippines doing Ekadasi was times when there would toothache come up and so on. Where I know from childhood and so on that there was issues and this kind of stuff, and it would come up, and the next day it would be gone. It's just like a memory getting re-triggered.
Yeah, exactly what happens when you do Ekadasi. The memories are re-triggered, and if you take the memory seriously, and you think, I have a problem, I should go have my teeth pulled out. Well,
or just give it 1-2 days and it will just pass.
Yeah, exactly. That's the attitude. Feel it. Be conscious of feeling it. Okay, but I'm not taking this as a serious problem. It's just a memory being brought up into consciousness, and I'm letting it come, letting it go. And you do that with all the things that come up from your life, from your memory, from your education, from your own experience, and from other people's experience that has been fed into you. And we get a lot of negative expectations coming from society, from people, from the media, and all of these are potential seeds. And then you look at fundamental Buddhism here in Thailand or anywhere else. Everything originates in the mind. Everything begins in the mind. You apply that to all these thoughts, well, any of the thoughts you're taking seriously are going to begin to manifest. And this is why we have a sick society. So many hospitals and doctors and nurses, pharmaceutical corporations and it has become very profitable.
It's a great business.
Yeah. And being a doctor is a good employment. Yeah. So we've created a society that is based on negativity. And if you look at what's happening in the world, okay, the negativity becomes self-evident. We expect disease, we have disease. And even here in Copenhagen, you're seeing, okay, they're building a new hospital because
Because
a
it's a
big
good
new,
business.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
I mean,
and these foreigners come along and they have medical insurance.
good
so
insurances which you can charge Western
First
prices.
thing they ask you when you go in,
Credit card.
credit card, insurance. Yeah. So everything in society is business oriented and has a value according to money.
I mean, look at. I mean, it's a good business model for economy. It's very bad for humanity. But if you look, for example, at Bayer, who bought Montesato, they sell you the poison in seeds, in food, and then they
Monsanto,
sell
yeah.
and via Monsanto, and then they sell you the cure via
Yeah.
the biopills,
Yeah.
which they're selling. So
Yeah.
it's a good business because they get you from both ends. It's like this Shiva
Yeah.
drum, boom, boom, boom. You get from both ends, you get boom, boom. But
Yeah.
people seem to enjoy it. I mean, I
Yeah.
know many doing it.
So if you come up with a system like yoga that produces health and you don't need any of those other things, well, you're going to have resistance even to this because, well, wait a minute, we're shooting ourselves in the foot here for
taking people out of business.
Yeah. And there's a big theory coming out of yoga teachers and health alternative people in California. Be careful not to overbreathe.
Okay.
Have you heard that one?
No, we don't.
I can send you an article on that. You shouldn't overbreathe. Even when you're doing yoga, don't breathe too much.
What are the dangers according to these people?
I mean, it's California, so it might be very poisoned air, right? So maybe that's the reason.
Well, they didn't come up with any specific conclusions, but they're all saying, oh, overbreathing is dangerous. So, and this is something that is triggered by pharmaceutical corporations and the medical association.
I mean, you have all these hip bars, these oxygen bars and so on, where hip people go to inhale oxygen because...
Which are popular in California.
Because it's so bad?
Well...
No.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird little glitches and things that don't make sense in here, but if you start practicing yoga, like I tell people, hey, I've been over breathing for 55 years. I'm just fine. I am the result of over breathing.
So we were talking about the body and that through practice there's this sensitivity to the body that increases.
Yeah.
Is there other effects like beyond the body that your awareness from beyond this physical awareness develops, and how is that experienced?
Well, you become aware of the vibration of the energy that is governing the body, and that is independent. Again, in yoga, they call it a separate body, the koshas, right?
Pranamaya kosha.
Pranamaya kosha is the energetic aspect, which without it, your body is just a heap of flesh. It's dying and rotting. So the pranamaya kosha is the energy part, and you're doing practices, pranayama yoga, of bringing this energy up with the breath, becoming more sensitive, feeling the energy rolling up and coming up your spine and going through the brain and taking your consciousness into a level that is beyond the body. And this is essentially the function and the purpose of practicing yoga, is to realize your consciousness is not trapped in the body. You can take it out. You can go and have these experiences, meditational experiences, flying around the universe, having amazing experiences that are not from the body's senses. Consciousness can see without eyes, right? You can close your eyes and have an inner vision. You can have dreams. You can see all kinds of things. And this is another thing you're developing. In Raja Yoga, you're using visual concentration to learn to see on the inside. And this develops. This is how I end up painting all these things. We started with simple little yellow squares and little red triangles, looking at them on outside, closing your eyes and seeing them on, whoa, comes up on the inside. You like fluorescent colors, which is why I use fluorescent paints.
Okay.
That's how they are on the inside. So you develop the ability, which again, we go through years of schooling and no one ever tells you about this. Develop inner vision. Did you?
No, wouldn't come up in school. Like sit still and listen carefully.
Yeah.
don't
And now,
don't daydream.
yeah. And now we've replaced our vision with television. Somebody else's vision.
Programming.
Programming. Exactly what it is. Which is what George Orwell was trying to tell us in 1984. We're watching a vision that is somebody else's vision, but it's programming our mind. It's telling us what to see, what to think, what to believe. And we're all just watching.
Not all.
Some of us have stepped out.
And where does Kundalini energy fit with this sensitivity that's increasing and accessing the different bodies?
Kundalini is, let's say, electromagnetic energy. Let's talk about prana first. Prana is electricity, electrons. Essentially, here in the jungle, every oxygen molecule has extra electrons. When they look at oxygen at the higher levels of the atmosphere, the oxygen molecules there have 3 and 4 and 5 extra electrons. They're supercharged. These electrons are detachable. When you're breathing through your nose, these electrons go straight into the nervous system, into the brain, as electricity. Electron, electricity, it's all the same stuff.
Which is the same what's triggering the nerves. It's the same stuff which is running along your nerves in order to give you experiences of the outer world. Electricity.
Yeah.
That's what it is. A voltage you can measure.
Yeah. It's electricity, which is a reality. And prana is a more subtle aspect, but it's exactly the same stuff. It's also measurable with refined instruments. They know that there are extra electrons. This is not a theory, that they're there on the oxygen molecules. And in some organic foods and different substances, there are extra electrons, which we absorb as a positive charge. Although it's negative.
Negative. Electricity, yeah.
Yeah.
Extra electrons.
Yeah, extra electrons. So when we're breathing deep and doing pranayama, which means accessing this energy, what we're doing is absorbing this force of electrons into our brain. Now that's the electron. This is the prana. Kundalini, you're talking about electromagnetic energy. So here you're going back into the core.
The movement needs to come into electricity in order to become electromagnetic.
Yeah.
If you have a coil and a magnet and you move the magnet in the coil, the magnetic field creates electricity.
Exactly what we're doing when we do the Laya Yoga Kriyas. We're bringing in the energy and we're circulating it around. We're creating this vortex of electrons, which creates a magnetic field and gives us a whole electromagnetic reality.
A changing electric field creates a magnetic field, which
and
then you end up. So you don't. Electrons is nice. Everyone knows static electricity when you have your balloon on your hair or something like that. So now you have electrons there, and now you have static electricity. But once it starts moving and creates magnetic field, then you talk about Kundalini.
Yeah, we're stepping into the electromagnetic, which everything is made of, electromagnetic energy. This is quantum physics. The quantum reality is waves, electromagnetic waves, which can be possibly turned into atoms and molecules. When they do, we have manifestation of this world,
I mean,
but we dissolve the material back into energetic waves, which are just potential.
E is mc squared. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very easy formula, very hard to understand, but it talks exactly about
Well,
converting
yeah.
the.
Which is where I started before I went to India. This is what I was looking at. Okay, E equals mc squared. And the whole time phenomena of time changes depending on how fast you're moving. There's a difference in time. This was all part of the relativity concept. I was like, oh, this is really interesting stuff.
Well, it was pretty fresh when you were experiencing or when you were playing with this kind of stuff, right? I mean, Albert Einstein is not so long ago. It was sometime in the
Yeah,
40s, I think.
yeah, he died back in the 40s and 50s,
Hmm.
thereabout. But yeah, I was fascinated by this kind of stuff. This is what I was studying with philosophy and what led me to find yoga books and Buddhist books in the library. And from that on,